How I'd build an aesthetic physique if I had to start today. Well, the first thing I would do is prioritize the frame muscles. And the frame muscles are your shoulders, particular your side delts, and your lats. Because those muscles are actually going to go ahead and broaden your frame and make you have a wider frame and just making you look more aesthetic. Because by training these muscles, this is going to go ahead and emphasize your shoulder to waist ratio, okay? And make you have a V-taper, because the V-taper is the most aesthetic physique on a man, okay? And by training the muscles such as your shoulders and your lats, that's gonna go ahead and emphasize the V-taper on your physique. And yeah, training your arms, your chest, your upper back, your legs is awesome, right? And you should be still training these muscle groups. But if you want to go ahead and have an aesthetic physique, if you want to broaden your frame, then you need to be prioritizing your shoulders and your lats in your routine. Because if you actually go ahead and prioritize these other muscle groups, such as your arms, your chest, your upper back, etc., you will nowhere near be at the end of your aesthetic potential. Because training the muscles such as your shoulders and your lats, these muscles are literally broadening your frame, because most of these muscles, they actually pierce out from the side, in particular your side delt. So really, if you want to go ahead and have an aesthetic physique, you need to be training your shoulders and your lats, and you need to be prioritizing these muscle groups in your routine. Now, the second thing I would do is train hard, but with good form. Because a lot of beginners, they will say that, yeah, bro, I trained so hard in the gym, I trained to failure on every single exercise. And to that, I will have to say that if you are a beginner in the gym right now and you say that you're training really, really hard, I can say that you're probably not training as hard as you think you are. Because even me, somebody who has been training in the gym and just been overall working out for 3.5 years, getting close to 4 years, I can say that you are not training as hard as you think you are. Because when you get to an end of an exercise, for example, with like squats or like, especially with the bigger like compound movements, even like bench press and stuff, you think that you are done. You think like, okay, like I can't do any more reps, okay? But if you actually were to go ahead and pause your set, like you're still holding the weight, but you go ahead and take a deep breath. You take like 2 deep breaths and you really just push and squeeze as hard as you can do like an extra like 1 to 2 reps. So that just means that you weren't actually close to failure, okay? I mean, you were close to failure, but you were not training to failure, okay? And I believe that you should be aiming to train to failure on every single set, every single exercise, okay? So you need to be training with more intensity, okay? That is gonna go ahead and lead you to better results. But here's a catch to it. You should be still training with good form. I honestly don't get this whole trend and popularity over the past few years about, ego lifting and, don't be a science-based lifter, be an ego lifter. And to that, I actually have to agree that the most important thing is that you actually train hard, but training with horrible form is just going to go ahead and increase the likelihood of you getting injured. And by going ahead and performing an exercise incorrectly and doing partial reps and not going all the way down and just like yanking the weight, like that is absolutely no benefit to doing that. So like ego lifting altogether, there is no added benefit to it. It doesn't give you anything except for to look cool and basically pretend that you're training hard. But really, if you want the best results, you should be training hard, but with good form. And if you are training hard and you really are pushing your sets to absolute maximum, then you will go ahead and break form near the end of your set. But if you go ahead and pick up a weight, you pick an exercise, and in the first few reps, in the first like 1 to 2 reps, you're already like breaking form and just like yanking the weight, like there is no benefit to that, okay? So really, you should be training hard, but you should be picking exercises which you can actually perform well, okay? And just if that means going ahead and just lowering the weight, then that is way better. Because if you are trying to go ahead and get aesthetic in the gym and build muscle, you should be prioritizing quality over numbers. Because to be honest, if you're not trying to be a power lifter, there is no need to actually go ahead and lift ultra heavy and just go ahead and flex on people and say that how much you lift in the gym, right? Because when you go ahead and train for aesthetics basically, you should be prioritizing having quality in your sets. And that basically means that you will go ahead and just pick an exercise, pick a weight which you can moderately handle, which isn't ultra light, isn't ultra heavy. I would say anywhere from like 6 to 15 reps on most exercises, right? And just go ahead and absolutely destroy your muscle fibers with that exercise, right? That is the most important thing, because really you should be lowering the weight down slowly. You should be pausing, doing all these types of things, because as I said, there is absolutely no benefit to going ahead and ego lifting, right? And if you want to go ahead and get aesthetic, you should be prioritizing the quality of your sets, the quality of your exercises and everything, right? Because you shouldn't be chasing numbers, okay? Really, just chasing numbers is just fueling your ego, and it's not going to go ahead and give anything extra to your aesthetics. Now, the third thing and the final thing is that you should be going ahead and lean bulking. And I've talked about lean bulking so much in my last few videos because it is honestly one of the biggest mistakes which beginners make in the gym, and I made myself. You think that, oh, by training hard, you're gonna go ahead and just build so much muscle, right? All you do is just train hard in the gym. You could show up to the gym and you train hard and you don't have your nutrition dialed in. You're pretty much like 40% the way there. I mean, to the only people who shouldn't go ahead and lean bulk is the people who are overweight. They're over like 20% body fat, but most people, they're anywhere from like 12 to 20%. So I would say that most people should be lean bulking. And then there's a catch to this, is that you should be going ahead and eating real food on your bulk. Don't use the gym as an excuse to go ahead and literally eat unhealthy, okay? Because honestly, some people, they literally eat like children, basically. Like you eat processed foods, you eating like cereal before the gym and for breakfast, and it's like, dude, if you want to like build muscle, if you want to actually see good results in the gym, you need to be eating like good, proper foods, right? Which actually have a lot of micronutrients. And in particular, if you are a natural lifter, which like over like 99% of you guys are, right? You should be prioritizing micronutrients, okay? And you shouldn't be following the classic like bodybuilding diet of chicken breast and rice, right? I've even made a video talking about the classic bodybuilding diet is making you small, where I basically go in depth into this video where I talk about how you should be going ahead and prioritizing micronutrients over macros. And you shouldn't be eating chicken breast and rice, not because, oh, it's a bad meal and stuff. It has very good protein and it has very good carbs, and this meal is like easy to digest and easy to prepare and all that kind of stuff, but it's very poor in micronutrients, okay? And if you want to be a great natural lifter and you want to go ahead and have good results as a natural, you need to be prioritizing micronutrients, because really by prioritizing micronutrients, you're going to have other good health markers. You're going to go ahead and have healthy testosterone, you're going to have healthy hormones, and really that is going to go ahead and result to a lot of your gains in the gym. So really you should be eating real food and just being in a surplus of 200 to 500 calories, right? And you do not need a crazy surplus. There is no benefit to also being in a crazy big surplus. Absolutely no benefit. Really, if you eat 200 and 500 calories above your maintenance, you're maximizing the amount of muscle growth you can have, and you are also limiting the amount of fat you will gain on your bulk. Eat 200 or 500 calories above maintenance, eat real food, train hard, get your micronutrients in, get your recovery in, and you will go ahead and have incredible results if you just stick to the basics, right? There is no secret to it, really, to go ahead and build muscle. It's hard to stay consistent in, but the core principles are very basic, train hard with good form, go ahead and train the muscle groups, which are the most important for aesthetics, being the shoulders and the lats, and just go ahead and lean bulk. That's pretty much it. Really, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And as you've already seen, I have a Skool community called the Aesthetic Academy, and it is a Skool community with people who share the same goal as you. They want to go ahead and get aesthetic in the gym. They want to build muscle, look attractive. And if that sounds something which you might be interested in, check out the Skool community in the description, top link in the description. And thank you for watching this video.